Hi, I'm Sergio. I'm from edinn, and I'm a software developer, and I do installations. Today, I'll show you how to install a local edinn server from scratch. This installation works for clients, partners, and community users. So let's start. First thing, you need to access to the edinn.com website. After that, you go to this tab, Academy, and then click Access Now. Okay. If you click here in Users and Developers, it will take you to a page that will ask you for your username and a password. To have that data, you just click on Try Now, and our department will provide you a username and a password. Once you have it, you enter, and you will be in this page. Welcome to edinn Academy. In here, we'll find the documentation we use in edinn to install servers and the files needed to install it. Down here, in this section, if you click here, it will open this page. This is the documentation we use. We have two types, 4 32-bit processors and 64. In this case, we'll follow the 64-bit processor. Going back to the files we need, we'll install the last version we have, version of this year. The files you need to download are this one, client setup, new, server update, ether, and down here, come from FATEC OPC server and server license. We're going to follow the steps of the documentation. Just as an introduction, I'll explain every step we'll take. Server settings, to set up some settings the operating system needs. We'll install some libraries necessary, a database, 2 programs to communicate with the database, a terminal that is the client that connects to the edinn server, the edinn server itself, a web server. We'll create a company, then some security, an FTP server needed to update the terminal, the OPC server, and a statistical engine. So, after we download the files I told you before, we unzip everyone, and we will have these 6 files. Now let's start with the server settings. First, need to go Control Panel, System and Security, System, Advanced System Settings. So, there we go. In search, type Control Panel. System and Security, System, and then Advanced System Settings. We click here, and we select this option, Adjust for Best Performance. We click Apply, and then data execution. Okay, this is the correct one. We click OK and OK. What I did are in the screenshots that you can see in the documentation. Now with this step, we go to the File Explorer, click File, and then change folder and setting options in tab. We check this option and then click Apply and OK. Perfect. Now we're done with the server settings. We go to the next tab, Database. Here you will have the path where all the files are located. For example, this one is in the directory New, Database, and the name of the program. So we'll go there and install all these libraries. Here I have my directories. Go to New, and there is one New, Database, Visual Studio. We install both of everyone. We always try to run everything as administrator. Okay, this error says that this program is already installed. So no problem, we keep close and continue. We do that every time. Every time we discover that it's already installed. This is already installed too, so okay, we're done with this step. We have installed the four libraries. Then we go to MySQL install. MySQL is a database that we use in edinn. It's necessary for the server. Okay, so the path, new database, MySQL database. We go there, MySQL database. And first, we need to execute the second one, the installer community. Okay, now let's follow the instructions. First, we accept the license terms, click Next, check the custom option, Next. We go here, we select the database for 64 bits processor, click the arrow, we move here. Click on it, and then click Advanced Options. Here, we will copy and paste this path. This will be where the installation directory will be and the data directory. For the data directory, can be a different path or a different hard drive. Click Next. Then execute. Okay, click Next. Next. We'll leave this option as it is. Look, I am consulting the documentation all the time because everything about the installation is in here. We'll leave this option. Now here we choose server computer and we change the port for the 10,000. We check show advanced and logging options, then next. Here we will put the password that the main user of the database will have. In my case, will be 1234, an easy one. Click Next. Then the Windows service name, we will change it for this name here, edinn M2 MySQL. We click Next. Next, we uncheck this one and change this error log name for edinn2. Next. Next, and then execute. Perfect. The database has been installed. Finish, next, and finish. And the last step of MySQL installer is to install the connector ODBC. And it's in this path. So let's install it in the same folder. We install. A standard installation. Keep clicking Next and install. Okay, we'll click Finish. We're done with this step, so let's go to the other. The installation of two programs to communicate with the database. Here we have the path. So let's go there. Database MySQL GUI tools. Okay, it has been installed. Then the other one, we select the option for 64-bit and run as administrator again. We select the language and keep clicking Next until it is installed. Perfect. Now, if we click finish, it will run the program. We select the language. Great. Now we're going to make sure that the database has been correctly installed. For this, we will make a connection and see. So for this, we click in New, and you will ask for the name of the connection. I will leave it like it is, New Connection. You will have to connect to localhost with the username root. My password is 1234, and the port is 10,000. Click Connect button, say yes, and it is connected. So the database was properly installed. Close it and continue with the procedure. Now we're starting the edinn M2 terminal. This is the client that will connect to the edinn server. This is terminal. Okay, we go to all folders we downloaded, and this is the correct one. Client setup. Click here and run as administrator, setup. We keep clicking accept and next until everything is installed. We press a key to continue. Okay, first, this is the XML parser. It's been installed. Then we continue. This error is just a conflict between versions. This is because the program tried to install a library. It is already installed in the system. So when it asks if you want to keep this file, we always say yes. This is just an advice that something happened. And what happened was the conflict between versions, because we know what was, and it's nothing, we click ignore. Okay, the terminal is already installed. Next step. The edinn server. Need to go to this path, extract what's inside this folder, and then paste it in this different path. Let's go there. In new edinn M2 server, new edinn M2 server, this one. We extract it locally. And we will extract this one too, because it's the next step. Okay. We enter this folder. We will get these two files, copy, and then paste it to this path. So let's go there. I'll open a different file explorer. Local disk. It's in Windows, syswall64. Go to Windows. We look for directory, syswall64. Then we paste it. We give the administrator permissions, click continue. There it is. Then we need to execute two commands. For this, we type here to search, we type cmd, we'll find the command prompt, right click in it, and run as administrator. Let's copy the first command. Be careful for what's white spaces in the beginning and the end. Okay. We change directories, then we execute this second one. Succeeded. Go back. Now we need to install this Microsoft.NET framework. It's located in the folder .NET. Here it is. Run as administrator. It was already installed, so we could close and then keep going. Step 3. This is the folder of the server. We need to move to this path. We'll use this one, copy paste, and now we'll find the server folder. Server update. Here it is. This is the folder we need to copy to the new location. So, to be faster, I will cut and then paste it here. Continue. Here we have the folder. Now, as here says, we open it and we look for a file called DLL register and run it as administrator. Here it is, DLL register, and we run it as administrator. This is the antivirus. There's no problem with it. This message is because the antivirus doesn't know what this program is. We click Run anyway. Okay. Now let's go to the next step, the web server. First, we need to install one more library. We execute both again, 32 and 64 bits. And it's in new web server Microsoft Visual. Okay, so let's go to new web server Microsoft. We install both. Next step is path. So we go to this path and extract the content of the folder. "64 bits, which is the one we want. Okay, we have extracted it. Here is the information we want. So we take this folder, select cut, and then paste it where it must. The path where pasted is here. Program files, edinn, edinn.m2 server. So let's go there. Program files, edinn, edinn.m2 server. We don't have directory on it, so we create it. WebSRV. We enter, and now we paste. Perfect, here it is. Then we continue with the other two pieces, PHP and sendmail. Web server, PHP, here it is. 64 bits, extract. And send mail to, we extract all. Now we open the PHP folder. Here are all the files, so we take this folder, cut, and in web server, we paste it together with Apache. And now the last one. Send mail. Look for the files. Here are the files. One level above. We cut and paste it. Great. Now the following step is to execute this command. Add this with administrator permissions. We paste the command and then press enter. The specified value was saved. Now we continue with the installation of the Apache web server. Copy this command, paste it. Now we're in the folder of the Apache. Then we execute this command to install it. Non error reported, we allow access. Okay, to make sure we did it correctly, we right click, we go to Task Manager, click on More Details, and then go to the Services tab. And here we'll find the service of Apache. We right click and start it. If it starts, then it means it was properly installed and it is running. So now we stop it because we're going to delete it. Take this command. We execute it. Success, it was deleted. Now we need to reboot the computer. Great, the system has been restarted. Now let's open again the documentation. Okay, we were in this step, down below. Okay, this one here, we need to copy and paste this command into the command prompt. Always remember to open it with administrator permissions. Right click, run as administrator. Paste it, click enter. It created the service. To make sure it is created, we do the same as before. Task Manager, we click on Services tab. Then we look for a service, it's called edinn web server. So we go to the E, here it is, edinn web server, and it's stopped. Let's start it. And it is running. So it was well installed. Let's go to the next step, adding M2 services. In this step, we will create a company. To do this, we need to go to this path and then find file called edinn m-dos console and execute it with administrator permissions. Here's the path. Here we are. Here it is, edinn m2 console. Right click and then run as administrator. This is the same thing. So we'll click more info and run anyway. Great. And this is the console to communicate with the server directly. We use the information to create a company. We use the information provided here. Import host port. We type localhost 2 points, and the port of the database is 10,000. We leave this empty because we didn't create a company. Type user root and password. The password of the user root, in my case, 1234. Then we click create. And as you see, Internet Explorer will be open with a formulary that we need to fulfill. We'll stop this video. Perfect. The payment code. You have going to type 1234. Now, goes here. 1234. In name and surname is the name and surname related to the administrator user of the company we're going to create. My name is Sergio Rivera, so we use that as username. We'll put my company, short name MC, then we type an email, we'll put a password. In this case, I will use a password 12345. Type it again, 12345. To make a clear difference between the database user and this user, we select the language, English in this case. We accept the terms, click register. Here we select the local server. Here we can select a template. In this case, we're going to make it community simulation and continue. Okay, the company has been created, and this is the number to identify our company. We need to save it. And now the following step is to connect to the server of that company. So we go back to the edinn console. We type the company ID. We still use the user of the database, and then we click connect. As you can see, here is the console of the server with every service started. Let's keep following this documentation. Okay. Now, we need to schedule a backup of the database we just created. And here you have the steps to do it. So let's do it. We first open MySQL Administrator. That is the program we will use to make that schedule backups. To be able to connect to a database, we again need to create a connection. Click here, new connection. I will leave the name as it is. The username that will make the connection is root. Password is 1234 in my case. And the host name is localhost. Port, we type the 10,000. Right? Then we click Apply. It was saved. Now we go to General Options, check Store Passwords, and select this option, Obscured. Then we apply again, and we click Close. Now we have the connection. It will fill some fields, some text fields, and then we use 1, 2, 3, 4. Click OK. Here we are connected. Now we click to the option Backup. New project. And here is the database of the company we created. So to make a security copy backup of this database, we are selected. Then we'll click this arrow. Here it is. Now we click Save Project. We need first to give a name to the project. Locally just backup. We save the project. And then go to the tab Schedule. I remember you, everything that I'm doing is documented here. Now we are in this screenshot. Check Schedule this backup. Here you put the folder you want the backup to be stored on. It's the file name, my case backup. And let's say we want the backup in Monday at this time. So we click Save Project. And now the program will ask you to introduce your Windows account. In my case, it auto-detected that my user Windows is called edinn, and I have no password, so I won't use any password. Click Yes, and it is scheduled. Let's continue with this step. First, we need to go to Windows Start Control Panel Printer. So let's go to Control Panel. Hardware and Sound, Devices and Printers. And we select Microsoft Print to PDF as default printer. Click OK. Done. Now these two steps that you see here are right now necessary. In the future, we will erase it or delete it from this top because it was solved in updates we've made with the program. Now it's up to the security. We'll need to open some ports for the proper communication between terminal and server. Here is how to access, where to create the rules, and how to create new rules. And now I'm gonna do that. Concretely, I'm gonna do that 6 times. These are the rules you need to create in your firewall. So let's go there. I type here, firewall. Advanced settings. We click on inbound rules and then new rule. That's how we're gonna create every single rule that we need. We select ports because we want to open a port, TCP, and specific local ports. For this name, I will copy. We need the port 10,000. So let's type it 10,000 next. We allow the connection. We uncheck the public option, and then we give it a name. We finish, and we do this 5 more times. Here for the TPC communication, port 21. Now the ports for the terminal. From 1221, perfect. 1001 to 2001. Click next. Port 80. These are the ports for the FTP server. From 5001 to 5100. Now the last one, port 8080. Sorry, I missed to uncheck this public option. Copy port, finish. Okay, now we have created the 6 rules in the firewall we needed. So we're done with the security and go to the step of FTP server. We use FireSealer server, and it is not the most used one or the most known, is one of them. So we go to this path, new 5 FTP server. So we go to the folder. We're storing all folders, in my case local C10, and we go to new FTP server. We run it as administrator and just keep clicking next and accept until it is installed. Here we have the program. Now click OK to open it. Great. Now it's time to the configuration. First, to go to edit some settings of the server. So we go to edit settings and passive mode settings. Here we have the screenshot. Server will must look like it. So this option is clicked, this one too, and this is not so. Let's check it. The ports are 5001 and 5000. Okay, now we click OK. Settings have been saved. Now we create a user. So we go again here, create a user. Here, click Add. And here, we put the name of the user. Down below this, you have the information to create a user. This must be the name. Click OK. It is created. Now we need to put a password. And the password must be this one. This is important because this FTP server via Scylla is the one that will be being taught to update the terminal. Okay, we're done. No, we are not done. Need to go to shared folders and add one. And here you have the path of the folder we need to select. So program files 86, edinn2 server client. Program files 86, edinn2 server client. This one, we click OK, and then OK to save it. Last step is to edit some settings again to increase the timeouts. So edit settings, here in general, here we are. So we type exactly what it is in this screenshot. 3600 1800 and everything else remains the same. So we click OK. And we're done with the FTP server. Go to the next step, the OPC server. OPC is a common language to communicate with PLCs. We'll start two programs. The first one, Control Fatec OPC server. So let's go to them. Here it is, Control Fatec OPC server. We run it as administrator. Run anyway. And now let's click Next and Accept until the program is installed. We will save the entire path for later. Okay, we click Cancel, Next. All right, it is installed. And now, once we finish the installation, And then we paste this. This is where the program was installed for you to see. And here is where you must paste and execute the file of the license of the program. And because we have downloaded it before from the edinn Academy, we'll have hit them. Here it is, control patek OpenSSH license. We copy it, paste it here, and then run it as administrator. We accept, and it is already installed. So next step is to run the program. We need to double click in this file. This one. We run as administrator. Just for showing you, we can open this project as example. Okay, this is the program we will use to organize the OPC server project file configuration. Here we can create new eBoxes and indicate the number of counters and the number of signals. This is just to show you how it is installed. And then we'll go to the second one. It's a tool to find PLCs in the network. This is the program we need to install, and we downloaded it before too. We keep clicking next until it don't wait. Go back. We'll create a desktop icon so we can easily run the program later. We click finish. We'll start minimizing. Great, this is the program. We run it as administrator. Okay, with this program, if you have any PLC connected to the internal network with LAN, you click scan, and then you will have every PLC that has an IP, so you can modify it. Now the last step is to install the statistical engine. We use the language R. So we go here to install it to new R server. Go to temp, file new, R server. We run it as administrator. Select the language, okay. We keep clicking next and accept until it is installed. It is already installed. The last step is to make sure that in the console, in the tab Calculations, we have the correct path to your files. So let's go to the console. Remember, run as administrator, edinn console to access the console of the server. Great. Now our password is 1234. This is the password of the database. Now in calculations, here it is, the correct path. Okay. Now the installation procedure is over. So to make the and to know if everything was properly installed, we have three things in edinn, and that is the terminal, the server, and the reports. So we're going to open every one of them to make sure everything was okay, and to be able, of course, to see the information the program can provide us. So the first one we opened before, the console. This is the communication with the server. You access it with the database user. So I'm going to close it. Okay. The next one is the reports. The reports can be accessed by just typing in the browser localhost, because this is a web client. Here we have the login screen, and in company, we tap the ID of the company. This is why I didn't close this tab. ID of the company, the user, in my case, I name my company. And as a password, 12345, to make it different from the user, from the database user. And here we have access to the report. You can see everything, it's working, so it was well installed. And now the last one is the terminal. We go to where it is. It's files 86, edinn, edinn.m2, client. This one application. We run as administrator. Let's accept. Okay, as you see, there's no icons in here. This is a bug we had, but was solved time ago with the update. So we're gonna update right now the terminal. We click here, then in the name of the server, we're gonna type localhost because all the information is in our computer. Click OK. The port of the database, 10,000 is correct. And then the server for updates is to the localhost. We click OK. And if we want to update it now, we click yes and wait till it's updated. We allow the access. Now we can see the icons. So we're doing the same as before. We're typing the number of the company, the username, and the password. ID of the company, the username, my company, and the password. In my case, 12345, and we click login. And here it is. It opened a new tab in the web browser. You can close it, it's just a hop. And here we have the client that communicates with the server. Now we know that everything works. This lesson was recorded, so it will be used for learning. And I'll be here some minutes in case anyone has any question to ask to me. Oh, and one last thing. In case any of you are having any troubles or any doubt for partners and clients, you have the ticketing system, and for community users, you have the forum community. No question. So thank you very much for your attention, and let us stay in contact.